Hey guys, I'm Joshua Aaron Rutherford here, and welcome back to my channel. And do you know what that means? That's right. That means A Bad Case of Stripes Languages books has already won. Congratulations to all of our languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. So I'm going to show you something very, very quick. You ready? Drum roll, please. I've already checked these out, called A Bad Case of Stripes Languages books, right there. Do you see? That's what it says. I already made the languages books A Bad Case of Stripes like I did. I've already finished the languages books is English, Arabic, Bulgarian, Cantonese, Catalan, Chinese, Chinese Taiwan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Estonian, Finnish, Flemish, French, French Canadian, German, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Kazakh, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Malay, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese, Portuguese Brazilian, Romanian, Russian, Serbian, Slovak, Slovene, Spanish, Spanish Latin American, Swedish, Tamil, Telugu, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. But just Spanish Castilian and Portuguese European. And only French and France. Okay? Alrighty, so I've already checked of these down of this list, A Bad Case of Stripes. So do you guys like it? I hope you like it. Okay, and now it's time to read of this book, A Bad Case of Stripes. Before I'm finishing up reading of this book called A Bad Case of Stripes, I have to show you something real quick. I got this. It's called My Book Report. I just got it from Hunter Slang High School. So I can do A Bad Case of Stripes of this title of book, author, illustrator, main characters, moral of the story, the ending of the story, setting of the story, summary of the story, and this book was awesome, pretty good, okay, or not my favorite. Okay, so I'm going to be doing my book report, A Bad Case of Stripes, after I finish reading it. Okay, and for right now, time to read of this book, A Bad Case of the Stripes. But before I'm reading of this book, I'm going to have to show you something for our playlist, A Bad Case of Stripes, on my YouTube channel. Give me 1 second. See, I already finished of these languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. So I already have English, Arabic, Bulgarian, Cantonese, Catalan, Chinese, Chinese Taiwan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Estonian, Finnish, Flemish, French, French Canadian, German, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Kazakh, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Malay, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese, Portuguese Brazilian, Romanian, Russian, Serbian, Slovak, Slovene, Spanish Castilian, Spanish Latin American, Swedish, Tamil, Telugu, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. And I already have of this video called A Bad Case of Stripes Language Books Winners. So congratulations to all of our language books, A Bad Case of Stripes. So you've already saw of this video that you've already saw of these languages books that I already have today. So the spring break has already started. Okay, so before I can take this, A Bad Case of Stripes language books of this description, I'm going to have to take a screenshot. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Take a screenshot. 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 And screenshot. Perfecto. Okay, so time to listen of these language books, A Bad Case of Stripes. Okay, so women languages voiceovers begin.
English,
A Bad Case of Stripes.
Arabic,
حالة سيئة من المشارب.
Bulgarian,
Лош случай на раета.
Cantonese,
一個糟糕嘅奸條案例。
Catalan,
Un mal cas de ratlles.
Chinese,
條文的糟糕情況。
Chinese Taiwan,
條文多多.
Croatian,
Лош случай пруга.
Czech,
Špatný případ pruhů.
Danish,
Et dårligt tilfælde af striber.
Dutch,
Een slecht geval van strepen.
Estonian,
Halb tripujuhtum.
Finnish,
Huono tapaus raidoista.
Flemish,
Een slechte zaak van strepen.
French,
Un mauvais cas de rayure.
French Canadian,
Un cas grave de rayure.
German,
Ein schlimmer Fall von Streifen.
Greek,
Μια κακή περίπτωση με ρίγες.
Hebrew,
מקרה גרוע של פסים.
Hindi,
धारियों का एक बुरा मामला.
Hungarian,
A csíkok rossz esete.
Icelandic,
Slemt tilfælde af rundtum.
Indonesian,
Kasus garis-garis yang buruk.
Italian,
Un brutto caso di strisce.
Japanese,
ストライプの悪いケース。
Kazakh,
Жолақтардың нашар жағдайы.
Korean,
줄무늬의 끔찍한 사례.
Latvian,
Slikts vītru gadījums.
Lithuanian,
Blogas juostelių atvejis.
Malay,
Kes yang buruk dengan jalu.
Norwegian,
Et dårligt tilfelle av striper.
Polish,
Zły przypadek pasków.
Portuguese European,
Mau caso de listras.
Portuguese Brazilian,
Caso ruim de listras.
Romanian,
Caz rău de dungi.
Russian,
Плохой случай с полосами.
Serbian,
Težak slučaj pruga.
Slovak,
Zlý prípad pruhov.
Slovene,
Slab primer črt.
Spanish Castilian,
Un mal caso de rayas.
Spanish Latin American,
Un caso grave de rayas.
Swedish,
Ett dåligt fall av ränder.
Tamil,
ஒரு மோசமான கோடுகளில் வழக்கு.
Telugu,
చెడు చారల కేసు.
Thai,
กรณีเลวร้ายของลายทาง
Turkish,
Kötü bir çizgili vaka.
Ukrainian,
Поганий випадок зі смужками.
Vietnamese.
Một trường hợp xấu của sọc.
Congratulations, language ladies. So, our languages books is already finished. Okay, so I've already checked these down. A Bad Case of Stripes languages books that I've already had. When I already turned this page, I just already turned the next page to see if what happens of this story. Okay, so I already will make the language books A Bad Case of Stripes, which means I've already finished. Okay, so it's time to read A Bad Case of Stripes. But before I read, I'm going to have to tell you something when I already finished languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes. I used to on Translate Tokyo to see more languages that we made. And I already go to Natural Reader to see more languages looks like. And I'm going to have to show you something on my phone. Okay, I'm going to have to show you something of this language that I already found. I've already found this of this website called AI Voice Generator Free. When I found this language, I see Hindi on it. 1 second. I see Hindi on it, and there's her name is Aditi, that she already read A Bad Case of Stripes Hindi book. That's what she just said. Okay, so I just already go to AI Voice Generator Free so I can make this book A Bad Case of Stripes Hindi book. So it's not going to be male voice anymore, just for female though, okay? Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, so again, I've already go to the Translate Tokyo that I already made A Bad Case of Stripes Korean book, so I can make of this book A Bad Case of Stripes, and I already made Korean book. Since I just do copy and paste, so I can put these Korean lines so she can read a Korean words, A Bad Case of Stripes, that I already copied and paste of this image page that I've already did, and since I've already deleted of this copied and paste at the Translate Tokyo is English from Korean that I already delete of this copied and paste words, since I've already do English United States / Korean that I've already make this book A Bad Case of Stripes Korean book. And I just deleted once again, and I've already finished this page, since Camilla turned herself into a room and her bed is her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and these paintings were her eyes. And I just already have Korean audio recording, since she's going to read A Bad Case of Stripes language books, since I've already saved this audio recording on iMovie app, so I can make of this book, okay? Okay, so if there are any questions about all of the languages books, please let me know. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, alrighty guys, so now it's time to read of this book, A Bad Case of the Stripes. You guys ready for this? I hope you're ready. Okay, let the story begin. Here we go. A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camilla was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today, she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in a mirror. Then she screamed. Her mother ran into the room, and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens," she cried. "You're completely covered with stripes." This was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Mrs. Cream felt Camilla's forehead. "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "I feel fine," Camilla answered, "but just look at me." You get back in bed this instant, her mother ordered. You're not going to school today. Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what the other kids would say. And she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" "No," Camilla told him. "I feel fine." "Well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, "I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me." And off he went. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal, but when a class said a Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." Sure enough, Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard," and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon, everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you can change channels on a TV. That night, Mr. Harms, the school principal, called. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream," he said. "I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting calls from the other parents. They're afraid those stripes may be contagious." Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now, nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?" he asked. "No, thank you," sighed Camilla. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans, but she had been laughed at enough for one day. Well, yes, I see," Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I better bring in the specialists. We'll be right over." About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Grob, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialists went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped, and tested. It was very uncomfortable. "Well, it's not the mumps," concluded Dr. Grob. "Or the measles," said Dr. Sponge. "Definitely not chicken pox," put in Dr. Cricket. "Or sunburn," said Dr. Young. "Try these," said the specialists. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. "Take one of each before bed," said Dr. Grob. Then they filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different, but when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called. But this time, instead of the specialists, he brought the experts. Dr. Gourd and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camilla was poked and prodded, looked at, and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gourd finally spoke. "It might be a virus," he announced with authority. Suddenly, fussy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. "Or possibly some form of bacteria," said Mr. Mellon. "Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails." "Or it could be a fungus," added Dr. Gord. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camilla, then at each other. We need to go over these numbers again back at the lab, Dr. Gord explained. We'll call you when we know something. But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. By now, the TV news had found out about Camilla. Reporters from every channel were outside her house telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camilla. Close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, Camilla groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. What are we going to do? Cried Mrs. Cream. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She began to sob. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet low knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. She went into Camilla's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes, one of the worst I've ever seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Asked Mrs. Cream. Oh my, no, replied the kind old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you like some. Wouldn't you? She asked Camilla. Camilla wanted a big heaping plateful of lima beans more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, the old woman said sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good. And being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. Said Camilla. Suddenly, the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camilla on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterward, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all of the lima beans she wanted, and she never had even a touch of stripes again. The end. Well, pretty good, right? Wasn't it so amazing that Camilla has already worried about what other people thought of her? I hope you guys like it. Okay, so if you would like this book, make sure you click like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so I've already finished of my story called A Bad Case of Stripes, like Camilla Cream, who loves lima beans but decides not to eat them. Since Camilla was getting ready for the first day of school, since she couldn't decide what to wear, that she already had a red dress on, but unfortunately, she got covered in stripes since she cannot go to school today at all. Since she's got covered in stripes like a rainbow, and she has thermometer in her mouth, and she has a cup of medicine. That's Dr. Bumble, who came in to examine Camilla since she has coughing, sneezing, runny nose, or uncontrollable twitching. But she's feeling fine right now. Since the other kids laughing at Camilla, they called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. So do you think it's Camilla's last name named Cream or Camilla? I mean, not Camilla. What's the last name, Cream or Crayon? I think it's actually Camilla Cream instead of Camilla Crayon. Okay, since her stripes are turning American flag, like red, white, and blue, and broke out any stars on it. And since everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, like polka dots, letters, checkerboard, snowflakes, and camouflage. Since Mrs. Cream, Camilla's mother, she's calling Mr. Harms, the school principal, and that's Camilla's father named Mr. Cream. And he's trying to make her feel better. And since they're specialists in this book instead of this movie, since their specialists on this book is Dr. Grob, Dr. Cricket, Dr. Sponge, and Dr. Young. Since she has shapes and colors all over her body, since I don't think this remedies is not gonna help. But lima beans is to cure of eating of Camilla's mouth, since it is the ending of this story like the old lady did. You see? They're squeezed and jab, tapped, and tested. It could be very, very uncomfortable. Okay, she has a, what is that called again? Oh yeah, she has a squeezing, pumping, arm pumping, and he has a feather. I mean, he has a arm pumping, he has a feather, he has a hammer, and he has the heart beating. Okay, since when I turn this page, she turned herself into a pill. Since Camilla took her medicine to make the stripes go away, but instead, she turned herself into a pill with her face on it, since her clothes did not look fit. Since there's experts in this movie, but Dr. Bumble is an expert in this movie, but not just a movie. So in this book, there's experts is Mr. Mellon and Dr. Gourd, and she has virus balls, she has bacteria tails, and she has fungus blotches, and experts did not have an idea, much less a cure. Since the TV news has already here outside of her house, and she's talking about, it's called The Bizarre Case of the Incredible Changing Kid. And Camilla was watching a TV, and there's a woman on a TV. She's talking about the remedies. It was like a psychologist, allergist, herbalist, nutritionist, psychic, and an old medicine man, but I don't think the medicine is not going to help. A guru and a veterinarian, but I don't think it's not going to be helping either. Since each so-called cure, since Camilla's strange appearance, until it was very hard to even recognize her, and she was sprouted, roots, berries, crystals, feathers, and a long furry tail, but nothing worked at all. But suddenly, she turned herself into a room, since I don't think therapist is not going to be telling her to do that, how she's turning herself into a room. And so again, I told therapist to stop saying that, but she already said it. And she turned herself into a room. It was made it by mistake. And it gets even worse. Since her bed is her mouth and her nose was a dresser, and these paintings become her eyes. And that's a gigantic pink bow tie on it. Since her parents has already freaking out. And her mother's like crying, and I don't know what's happening to her daughter. So fortunately, the old lady can help her how she cured the stripes go away. Since she had a lima beans in her bag, and she took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. The only cure is to eat the lima beans how she loves, but decides not to eat them. Since the other kids in school don't like them. Just like Camilla did. Do you see it? I like Camilla who eats lima beans, and I played as Camilla Cream. And in the movie version, I ate macaroni and cheese and apple juice, or just like lima beans, or like that. And then finally, she was cured at last, since she has stripes no more. Her branches, crystals, feathers, and squiggly tails are all disappeared, and the whole room was swirling around, and she was cured at last. So, at the end of this story, she ate all of the lima beans how she wants, and she never got any stripes again. I mean, let me say it again. She never got any cover of the stripes ever again. And so, that's the end of the story. And that I already have of this language books on my paper, since I've already checked these out like I did. And I already made of this book called A Bad Case of Stripes all of the rest of our languages. And all of the rest of our multi-languages. Okay, so I hope you enjoy of the languages books, and I hope you guys like it. Okay, so somebody got likes on my video, since everyone's got 10 likes on my video called A Bad Case of Stripes Japanese book that I already made. And somebody commented on my video, and I don't know what Japanese says. But I know what Japanese says thank you in Japanese called arigato, that I already have. Okay, so before you guys leave, I want you to have this called My Book Report that I already finished reading of this story. So I'm going to do a title of book, author, illustrator, main characters, moral of the story, the ending of the story, setting of the story, summary of the story, and this book was awesome, pretty good, okay, and not my favorite. Okay, so since when I finished, I'm going to write my name and put on a date. Okay, so let me look on clock to see how many minutes are left. Okay. Be work. My book report in 30 minutes. Okay. So, time to do our 30 minutes of my book report, A Bad Case of Stripes. Okay. So, let's get started. And 3, 2, 1, start. Okay. Title of the book, A Bad Case of Stripes. Okay, that's good. Alrighty. What is the author of A Bad Case of Stripes? The author is David Shannon. Okay. David Shannon. Okay. And what is the illustrator of A Bad Case of Stripes? Illustrator. Okay. That's the illustrator. Okay, just David Shannon. Let me write it down. Okay, the next question. Okay, what is the main characters? What is the main characters of A Bad Case of Stripes? Okay. Let me write it down. Camilla Cream. Camilla Cream. Okay, so the next one. The old woman. Dr. Mumble. Parents. Okay. The principal. Okay. And now for specialists. Specialist. Just specialists. Experts. And the last character, therapist. Therapist. There. Alrighty. Now moving on to the next question. Moral of the story. What is the moral of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes? Okay. 23 minutes left. Okay. Let me write it smaller. It is essential. Wait, I spelled it wrong. Okay. To be true. To be true. To yourself. And not hide your true identity. Okay. To please others or confirm to peer pressure. SSURE. Perfect. And now for the next question. Oh, 20 minutes left. Okay. Okay, ending. What is the ending of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes? Ending. Okay. Let me write it down. Camilla Cream eats lima beans. Oh, I spelled lima beans wrong. Okay, I'm gonna have to focus. Offered. by an old woman. An old woman. Old woman. I'm not gonna write the whole thing down. Just doing like this. Well, actually, I'm gonna write the whole thing, actually. About her classmates. Opinions. "16 minutes. Okay. Embracing. Okay. And for the beans. Okay. For the beans. She loved my beans, but not to eat them. And returns to her normal self. Okay. And finally, never experiencing EXPERIENCING the stripes again. Okay. Give me a second. Again. Okay. Done of the ending of the story. And now for the 14 minutes. Okay. Now for the next question. Setting. What is the setting of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes? setting. Oh yeah, I love the answer. Okay, let me write it down. Rubber band. A-N. Okay, neighborhood. I-G-H-B. Oh, I think I spelled it wrong. Neighbor. Hood. There. Just like that. And now for summary of the story. What is the summary of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes? Okay, we have 11 minutes. Okay. Let me write it down really quick. Camilla. Cream. Camilla Cream. Girl. A girl who hides her love for lima beans. For lima beans. Lima beans. To fit in causing I spelled causing wrong. Causing her to break out in rainbow stripes. Okay, 9 minutes. And undergo, bizarre, yep, okay, bizarre, physical, transformations, formations, based, okay, based, on others, opinions, okay, opinions, perfecto. I already finished this, and that, but I didn't finish this and name and my date yet. Okay, I've only have 6 more minutes. Okay, I wonder which one is this book was. Is it going to be awesome, pretty good, okay, or not my favorite? Let me think about it. This book was awesome. Okay. This book was awesome. Okay. How many minutes do we have left? Oh, 45 seconds. Okay. And now for my name. And the date. 3. What is the date? The date is March 8th. 8th and 2026. There you go. Oh, that's the timer. There you go. I already finished. Okay, so I've already finished my book report that I already worked on, and time to listen what Siri says all of the questions about me when I'm reading A Bad Case of Stripes, and I already made languages books. You ready? Okay, begin. Siri, you come talk to me, ask questions, all right?
Okay, Joshua, what is the title of the book?
The title of a book is A Bad Case of Stripes.
What is the author and illustrator of A Bad Case of Stripes?
The author and illustrator is by David Shannon.
What is the main characters of A Bad Case of Stripes?
The main characters is Camilla Cream, the old woman, Dr. Bumble, parents, the principal, specialists, experts, and therapists.
What is the moral of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes?
The moral of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes, it is essential to be true to yourself and not hide your true identity. To please others, you're confirmed to peer pressure.
What is the ending of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes?
Camilla Cream eats lima beans offered by an old woman, instantly curing her. She stops caring about her classmates' opinions, embraces her love for the beans, and returns to her normal self, never experiencing the stripes again.
What is the setting of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes?
A contemporary American suburban neighborhood.
What is the summary of the story of A Bad Case of Stripes?
Camilla Cream, a girl who hides her love for lima beans to fit in, causing her to break out in rainbow stripes and undergo bizarre physical transformations based on other opinions.
And how is your book?
This book was awesome.
Congratulations! You finished your book report and you finally finished your languages books. Good job!
Thank you so much, Siri. And thanks for this book, A Bad Case of Stripes. So this book has to leave for right now. So goodbye, Bad Case of Stripes. And goodbye, Languages books, to you. Okay, let me put these back in. And this as well. Okay, it's time to say goodbye to A Bad Case of Stripes. Say goodbye. Okay, now A Bad Case of Stripes language books has already finished. And now, the second book is called Thank You, Mr. Falker. It was by Patricia Polacco. Since I'm going to be making Thank You, Mr. Falker languages books as well, that I've already made the other language books called Thank You, Mr. Falker by Patricia Polacco. It was only on YouTube channel that I already made 20 videos on a playlist. It was by, what's that languages again? It's Dutch, English, French, German, Indonesian, Italian, Polish, Portuguese, Brazil, Russian, Spanish, Spain, Turkish, Ukrainian, Vietnamese, Arabic, Chinese Mandarin simplified, Chinese Mandarin traditional, Hindi, Japanese, Korean, and Thai. Okay, since I've already finished the other language books called Thank You, Mr. Falker, it's only on playlist on YouTube. It's 20 videos. Okay, so if there are any questions, please let me know. Okay, everyone. Bye. See you guys later. Wait, hold on, guys. Before you guys leave, I'm going to have to show you something. I've already made this picture. It's called a rainbow, like A Bad Case of Stripes, just like of this book. Okay? Since I got colors in rainbow like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and pink. It says my name on it, Joshua. Okay, so if there are any questions about all of the languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes, please let me know. Okay, so I'll see you at the Thank You, Mr. Falker multi-language books, and I'll see you guys later. Adios.